From author Brian K. Morris comes a classic hero in a high-flying, fast-paced, and action-packed steampunk adventure. The original Skyman battles the Master of Steam with an introduction by comics icon and historian Roy Thomas. A Rising Tide, an Ace Comics publication. Available now in print or digital format on Amazon.com.
And welcome to issue 1 of Comic Book Spectrum.
Seconds.
Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural edition of Comic Book Spectrum, where we're going to talk about comic books, past, present, and future. We've got a great show lined up for you and some really great people to talk with. And we welcome your comments and your questions, as always. And for everyone who's watching us right now, thank you to PlasmaFireGraphics.com for the sponsorship of this episode. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. The cover is what people see first, so get the best working on your covers, including all your trailers and your promotional material. Plasma Fire Graphics can take care of it for you. Go to PlasmaFireGraphics.com as well as their Facebook page and check out what Jeffrey Hayes does. He does it well, as you can see already. And we want to thank all of our Patreon subscribers right there. You can support our various shows with a monthly contribution, and we appreciate it greatly. And Amy Hale, see, we finally got your name on there. We're getting better. So thank you to all my Patreon people. And if you want to investigate what supporting our broadcasts and our publications looks like, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris for more information. And we also want to thank the Geek Insider .com for powering this show, and check out their website for some amazing broadcasts. And we also want to thank just everybody for watching. If you're watching us on Facebook, please give this video a like if you enjoy any part of it whatsoever. Also, please give the page you're watching this on a like, because it's the kind thing to do for your host. And if you're watching us on YouTube, on the Brian K. Morris Rising Tide Publications page or any other, please give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel you're watching it on. Again, it's just takes a few seconds and helps so much. Be sure to tingle that little bell so that you get notified of all future things that we do. And also, we're a proud part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We've got a variety of shows covering 7 days a week. And following this show, we've got Clever as Hail at 8 p.m. Eastern with special guest Charles F. Milhouse, great pulp writer and publisher. And then later tonight at 9 p.m. is Stupid O'Clock with Joe Dog McKeel and his crew, where they talk all kinds of things. You're going to enjoy watching that. And then at 11 comes the Stupid After Show. You'll enjoy that one too. So anyway, thank you for joining us here for the first issue of Comic Book Spectrum. This has been a long time planned, but I finally got off my backside and scheduled the darn thing. We hope you enjoy it. We look forward to your comments during the show, and please let us know afterwards what you think of it. And if you're watching us again on any social platform, please give it a like if you enjoy it. And now I'm going to be bringing in 3 incredible guys here who first I've got to unmute them. I'm not going to be mean to one of our broadcasters today who did an entire show muted, and we will mock him tomorrow in the green room of Uncle Carl's Secret Humor page, so please check that out. So anyway, we're going to go around the room. I think we'll start with Eric, then Brian, then Clyde, and tell everybody who you are and why you are so amazing.
I'm Eric Scott Hawkins. I'm an independent comic creator and the creator of the Zombieful World of Oz. And by independent comic creator, I mean I write them, I draw them, I color them, I letter them, I do everything on them. published 2 issues of that so far. Going to be doing the 3rd issue here in a month or 2. And I just enjoy comic books.
That's a good reason to do this. And now, Mr. Brian Rodman.
I too am a indie comic creator, and I am the currently the horror fantasy comic book writer of Memoirs of an Angel. It is a horror fantasy series that currently has 6 issues out, and the 7th issue launches on Kickstarter tomorrow. So yeah, and I'm also the co-host of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, the podcast about all things nerdy, and I am cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about comics, folks. So that's why I'm here. And I paid Brian a lot of money.
And the check just cleared, so thank you very much, Brian. And rounding out this motley crew is the voice of dignity here. He's got to be. It's Mr. Clyde Hall. Clyde?
Hi. Like Brian, I'm one of the Patreon contributors, so I guess this is my payoff, is I get to actually be part of your show. So, but also, I'm a writer. I've always been a writer, but I've only in the last couple of years tried to use my writing skills to actually get published. I'm in Stormgate Press's Pulp Reality #1 with my first short story for publication. And since then, I scripted an audio drama in a competition and won first place. So award-winning, taking a page from Brian K. Morris, I'm an award-winning audio scripter now, audio adventure scripter. So comic books have always been, at least in some way, connected to growing up. The first show that I can remember watching is a toss-up between Captain Kangaroo when he had on the Treasure's uniform, the dark-colored uniform, and the hat, and this strange monochromatic man flying through the air that I wouldn't realize until several years later was Superman. So from that point on, and that even I still remember seeing that person take flight for the first time. So the original Adventures of Superman kind of locked me in imagination-wise as a little kid, and I've been there ever since.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you, Clyde. And I am the host, for lack of a better word, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright. Clyde's is probably better than mine. Mine's for not killing a man. And I'm also a Facebook famous YouTuber, as well as a former mortician's assistant. I write a lot of comics. I'm the copy editor on the Zombie World of Oz, making sure there's there's Eric choking, making sure there's enough zombies in every issue because of the Federal Trade Commission. Also, I write a lot of books that have a comic book flair to them. And we've got we do some broadcast, a little bit of broadcasting. Never mind the furthermore, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. with creative conversation and coffee, and Tuesday nights plus various specials of Clever Tile Pending, where we talk about creativity and the business behind it. And I am happy as heck that you guys showed up for this. We are going to have fun. And I should also mention the comic books. I cannot remember a time in my entire existence when comics were not a part of my life. I grew up learning to read from them. And that's why when I went into first grade, I was the only kid in class who could spell the word invulnerable and knew what it meant. It's enriched my vocabulary and my life, and I've met some of the coolest people, because of it. So I am glad to host this show, and we've got some cool people. Trevor Hawkins, glad to see you. No, you did not miss the 0 issue. We will be having that put out later. We're just still trying to find a way to get a Mylar bag big enough to contain this show.
There's a lot of nudity in issue 0, so just a heads up.
Oh, you knew. Anyway, as I'm hanging over my my hail pail. Anyway, Ted Davies Street, good morning. Sorry, couldn't resist the cheap shot at you. And Rami Hale, who's following the show with the incredible Creative as Hale. Check out that show once you're finished with this one. And Carl Witzman, good to see you, fella. Good evening, can't stay. Checking in with my phone. Hope the premiere goes well. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate that. And Ted Davies, Carl, I need to talk to you. And Brian Hawkins, good to see you. Greetings greeting programs. Glad to see you here, citizen. And Brian is related to one of the members of this panel. I'm not going to tell you which one. That's right, it's Clyde. Anyway, Pops Van Zandt, first comment. Pops, glad to have you here. CromCon's happening this weekend. Cindy kept CKOEPP.com. Back again for more fun, benign stalker mode. Mwah, glad to see you here on great newsletter, by the way. And woohoo! And Carl's revealing where he's going to be. And Cindy Kep says, speaking of comic books, Roll Cruz finished the Art for Animal Eye #1. She's doing her first time scripting on her first comic book based on her novel Animal Eye. Please check that out on Amazon. It just needs the publisher's thumbs up. The cover's really cool. Roll came up with a little graphic that is fantastic. Cool. Glad to see that. And we're almost caught up here. Hey, Philip Thompson, how you doing? We are going to try, Cindy. We are going to try to go. And Willow Schuyler, mwah, darling, thank you for promoting tonight's work. Appreciate you so much. And check out the Hanging with Web Show Network and Willow Schuyler's Willow's Pillow Talk on the weekend. All right. And Joe Dog McKeel checking in and running audios. I work on other things. Joe Dog, good to see you, brother. We'll see you later on Stupid O'Clock. And go Eric. And we're glad to see you, Willow. We hope you'll be happy with your lunch. And yay, Clyde. And here we go. So that's pretty much it. And it's your imagination, Alfred. Anyway, just my imagination, just like Ill Temptation song. So anyway, let's launch into the first part of the show. What we're going to do is we're going to start every episode with a review of a comic. And the criteria is it won't be a crowdfunded comic unless it has come out, unless you have either the digital or the physical copy in your hand. And it should be something that's come out within the last month, so that if you like what you hear, please go to your local comic shop and support them by buying those issues and put them on your pull list. All right. And if you don't know what a pull list is, go into your comic shop and ask them, and they'll gladly tell you. So who wants to go first? That's what I thought. Let's start with Clyde. All right, let's start with Clyde. What do you have? And tell us why it's amazing.
Okay. I am reviewing a title that, in all of its incarnations, I have followed and loved. It's Black Hammer from Dark Horse, and Jeff Lemire's his analog series, which kind of joined 1963 and Astro City over at Image as a way of telling stories about characters without telling stories about characters. Just like a lot of Star Trek fans think that Galaxy Quest is one of the best Star Trek movies ever made. Jeff Lemire made comic books that are analogs for existing characters. And this month they have launched Black Hammer Visions #1. It has 2 different covers. This one is the standard cover. This one is by Dean Kotz with Jason Wordie. There's a variant here by Gilbert Hernandez with Dave Stewart. And interestingly, each one of these looks at a different aspect of this issue. So I really like at least 2 of the 3 different covers. I have enjoyed all of Jeff Lemire's work, but now he's letting other people into his sandbox. This issue is written by Patton Oswalt. If you know him, he is a writer and he is an actor and a comedian. And he doesn't normally do leading man roles or main roles, but as a support actor and cast member, he always shines. He was all of the Koenig brothers or Koenig agents on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., for example. He was the TV son of TV's Frank on MST3K The Return. And he always just delights me. He always has an interesting take on things. So I was anxious to see how we would do with this story. Art for this issue is by Dean Kotz. Color is by Jason Wordie. And it is lettered by Nate Picos. For those of you that don't know too much about Black Hammer, I always picture in my imagination Jeff Lemire doing this. He got to work for DC after doing some of his own projects, and I could just see him pitching things he wanted to do. I could see him going in and saying, hey, I'm really glad to be in your sandbox. I've got a great idea for a Starman story. And the honchos at the time at DC, which have changed since, would be, Starman, which one? Wait, is it an event? Oh, no. Is Batman in it? No, not interested. What else you got for us, kid? Well, I had an idea for a Justice Society story and another one for the Legion of Superheroes. We're not really interested in those past times or those future times. Oh, wait, is it an event? No. Does it have Batman in it? No. Okay, yeah, we'll pass. So Lemire went to Dark Horse and he pitched some of these ideas as a different universe, the Hammerverse, as a Black Hammer story. For a little background, if you're not familiar with Black Hammer, he took members of kind of their Justice League or Justice Society, threw them into a situation where they saved the world from the anti-god in a very crisis across the cosmos sort of way. And then the ones that had actually lived through this, the heroes lived, heroes died. The ones that lived woke up in what seemed to be a pocket dimension called the Farm. And the Farm, and it's a little town nearby called Rockwood, is where these heroes were trapped. One tried to use his superpowers to get out of the parallel dimension or the pocket dimension and was instantly killed. So they all decided they could not use their powers, and sort of like Pleasantville. If you've been watching WandaVision, it's sort of like that, where it's a little community and everything's pretty idyllic and it's very low key and they can't leave. So suddenly you got superheroes that are all number sixing on the Village version for superheroes of The Prisoners TV series. They can't leave, and it becomes a mystery finding out why they're there and how they're trapped and why they can't leave. It was popular enough that it got some spin-off series. Lemire in charge, definitely his sandbox, but other people started to get to write some of the stories. And with Visions, it has completely opened the gates so that people can write one-shot standalones in the Hammerverse. And so the first one with Patton Oswalt, I was really anxious to see what he did. He chose to keep it in line with all the things that Black Hammer does, where it is an analog to existing comics. He chose to do an analog to an existing comic. But instead of DC or Marvel or anything like that, what he chose was 1997's Fantagraphic books, Ghost World. That was also the basis for a 2001 film. It had Scarlett Johansson in her first comic book movie type role, kind of a cult classic movie. And in the analog that they did, Transfer Student, it peers into the lives of two best friends, girls that are just like the main character girls in Ghost World. These girls are cynical and they're jaded. They're outsiders. They're neo-cool. They're very smart. And they wryly examine their lives and their options as they near their graduation from high school. The consumerist, simplistic status quo of Rockwood, in this case, chafes at them. And they take a moment to recall a strange little girl from their grade school year. And that was Gail. One of the characters that are trapped in Rockwood and in this micro universe is Golden Gail. And she is part of the Golden family from the Golden Age of comics, where a wild and wily wizard named Zazfram gave them powers, and all they have to do to become superpowered beings is to call on his name, say his name, and they become the Golden family. She was a 9-year-old girl when she became their Mary Marvel analog, and she's Golden Gail. And in the years that passed after that, her regular human seeming aged normally. Golden Gale is always 9 years old. She's stuck in that level. When she gets swept into the pocket dimension, she is trapped being that 9-year-old Golden Gale, and she can't use her powers or else she's afraid she'll be killed. So she's a 50, 60-year-old woman trapped in a little girl's body. Well, she tried to go to school. She tried to pass time doing things. When she went to school, she met these two girls when they were also 9 years old. And she had a real impact on them because she seemed so much more mature and so much smarter and so much more sophisticated than the other kids. And so we see where Golden Gale ends up intersecting and interacting with them at different times as they grow up, because time doesn't stand still for them. They're becoming adults. She's still a little kid. And it comes to a point where she has to pass herself off as somebody else because they won't buy that she's not getting any older. It has a lot to say about those who don't quite fit in, but have otherwise fantastic hearts, complex minds, cutting-edge senses of humor, and sometimes superpowers in a world that doesn't really seem very receptive to any of those at times. So it speaks to most of the readers, I think, of the title, and that they're not quite fitting in, although they have wonderful powers and abilities and gifts. Not always are they appreciated. Kudo geek points for this issue. Amy Mann's song Ghost World was based on that Ghost World comic book, and they managed to work it in a little bit, and that was really cool. Geek sticking points for this issue. This is a Talking Heads comic, just like Ghost World was. There's very little excitement or superheroics, although there is a little bit. There's not a lot. So if it's a climactic battle that you seek, this issue is probably going to disappoint you. If you really enjoy quirky and cool characters being explored, chances are you will like it. My rating for Black Hammer Visions #1 from Dark Horse Comics, and it is out now, available. And also this caveat, it seems like a fairly kid-friendly idea that Golden Age heroes brought into the real world. It's very adult. They say naughty words. It is for mature and later teen audiences. So even if it has a cool Golden Gale cover and looks like the thing that your 6-year-old kid would like, it is not for children. With that said, my rating is 8 out of 10 stars for a very good, strong premiere issue.
Excellent, Clyde. Thank you very much. That does sound cool. And I like Patton Oswalt anyway. And by the way, folks, he's also in the Weird Al Yankovic video for the song Foil, which is worth checking out. Yes, based on, what was it? Royals. Based on the song Royals. So anyway, more geek stuff. And Jeff Hayes of Blast and Fire Graphics, good to see you. Awesome inaugural episode. Congrats. Thank you. And Ted Davies Artistry likes that. Black Hammer rocks. Good choice, Clyde. And good evening to you, Teresa Dunn. Glad to see you. And speaking of people we're glad to see, let's hear now from Brian and tell us what you're reviewing and why you love it.
Sure. Yeah. This I don't have the physical copy at the moment because it's actually really hard to get right now. But I am reviewing The Last Ronin, which is a futuristic dystopian story. It's essentially the ending of the Ninja Turtles. And what's really cool initially about this book in general is it is the return of Eastman and Laird. They are working on this story together, which has not happened in decades. So they are back with a team of amazing creators and to bring the story to life. It's kind of like Blade Runner meets The Dark Knight Returns meets the Ninja Turtles. And the Ninja Turtles have a very soft spot for the Ninja Turtles. I think that was like one of the first movies I ever remember watching. And, I have all of them in a nice pizza box, fun Blu-ray collector's set. And I have issue #1 of the third printing and can't wait for Kevin Eastman to sign that eventually one day would be amazing. But I love the Ninja Turtles. A huge fan. And when I found out that they were going to be doing this story, I freaked out. Like I was super excited. And then, you know, I love more, you know, dark stories anyway. That's kind of I dig those things a lot more than kind of the happy-go-lucky ones. So so this was like right up my alley. They returned back to the original like first issue tone. So it's not like the cartoons. It's kind of like the first movie in a ways that, like, you know, that they're straight up killing people. Like in this comic, the Ronin in this issue, in the first two issues, he's just no holds bar, lots of blood, just going through chopping up the Foot Clan and anybody else that stands in his way. And when we enter issue 1 of the series, which is, like I said, is the stories by Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, and Tom Waltz, and the script is by Tom Waltz and Kevin Eastman. And it's actually interesting. I thought this was pretty cool. Kevin Eastman, on a lot of his books, he will hire artists to work with him, but he will do all the page layouts a lot of times. So he did that with this book. And the pencils and inks are by Esau and Isaac. I'm going to butcher this last name, but Escorza. I apologize. And also a page in issue 1 and all of issue 2 is done by Ben Bishop. And the colors are Luis Antonio Delgado, and lettering is Sean Lee. So that's the team for issue 1. And when issue 1 starts off, New York has been this is many, many years in the future. New York is a dystopian wasteland, and it is ruled by the descendant of the Shredder. And he is literally, like, you look, they have the huge, you know, span of the city, and in the middle of the city, it's Manhattan that he owns essentially, and in the middle of Manhattan is his tower, and literally the water surrounding all of the islands in New York City is sludge. And they actually talk about that at the beginning of the issue, which is really interesting. When we enter the first issue, the Ronin is the last remaining turtle. All of the other turtles, Splinter, the Turtles, you know, everyone that you love and, you know, cherish in your heart is dead. They're all gone, and it's just this one turtle left. And the whole mystery of the first issue is who is, you know, Ronin. And we won't get into that because you should read it. But the interesting dynamic is the Ronin actually, he I don't know if he's actually hearing his brothers or if it's just all in his head. But throughout the first issue, there's dialogue between Ronin and his deceased brothers as he's going through the city. The whole purpose of the first issue is just Ronin trying to get to the Shredder's descendant in his tower. It's literally, he's running through the city, killing the Foot Clan, killing the cops that are corrupt and they're like androids, and it is super, super cool. Like I said, the environment is a lot like Blade Runner meets like The Fifth Element. So you get that feel, that type of dystopian future feel. And the storytelling, the feel is very, very similar to Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, which it actually fits really, really well with this story. So yeah, the first issue is just him running through the city, killing everyone in sight, talking to his dead brothers, and at the end of it, he's in a very crazy predicament that I won't spoil it. Absolutely go get it. But then issue 2, and you do find out who Ronin is at the end of issue 1. And then issue 2, I'm going to tell you this now. I'm man enough to say this. It's fine. I cry when I read comics. I do. But not often, right? Like, I don't just like pick up a random comic and start bawling. That's weird. But, you know, like you know, when it's emotional, it's moving, boom, I do it. Doesn't matter. And I've only really like cried a few times while reading a comic, to the point of like ugly cry, you know, like where you're embarrassed. and this is one of them, issue 2, because I've already, set up how much the Ninja Turtles mean to me. Reading issue 2, Child Brian died a little bit inside because it is telling the story of how all the other characters that you know and love and are very dear to you in the Ninja Turtle universe die. It shows how they die, and not all of them, because of course we're just going to stretch this out and painfully trudge through it, because we're all gluttons for punishment here. But but no, issue 2 is beautifully done, and it's action packed, emotionally driven. Like I said, I cried a couple times. The first, and this isn't a spoiler, they show the first panel. It's the very beginning of issue 2, so this is a flashback, right? This isn't in the future, and it's April and Casey Jones are together in their apartment, and they've got dinner ready, and they're waiting for all the Turtles and Splinter to come have dinner with them, and they keep talking about how they're late. That's weird. They're usually right on time, but it's been like a half hour. This has never happened before. And then Raphael bursts in covered in blood, and he throws all the food off the table, and he's like, there was an ambush, and we need this table. We need to get Splinter help. And then the next panel is Michelangelo and Donatello holding Splinter, covered in blood, barely alive. And of course, you've read issue 1, and the whole premise is this is the only one that's alive. So like from the get-go, all these people die. So it's just like knowing that and seeing Splinter in that panel, I lost it. It was just like, And then, from that point on, and then there's a significant death in issue 2 that just got me. So overall, it is a fantastic series. It is an extended comic, so it's like 40 to 50 pages an issue, and it comes out quarterly-ish. I know when the first one came out in October, and then the second one was supposed to come out in December, and it got pushed back till just a couple weeks ago. So I think they're just kind of, it's all written, the story's there, and it's a limited series. I'm not sure how many issues. I want to say maybe 6, and then they're done. So eventually it will be like a graphic novel kind of setup. But anyway, I give it 10 out of 10. It tugs at your heartstrings. It does all the right things with comics that it should. And, Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman are veterans. They've been doing this for 25 plus years, and they're excellent at it. So the storytelling is great. Visual storytelling is stunning. The artwork is amazing. And like I said, it's action packed. Expect blood, expect tears. Go buy The Last Ronin because it's amazing.
Fantastic. And Ted Davies Artistry says TMNT, yes, with a bunch of exclamation points. And Brian Hawkins makes a good point here that just read Last Ronin today. Issue 1 is hard to find, but he picked up a second printing. So don't be discouraged if you can't find a first printing. If you want to read this terrific story, then definitely grab that second printing. And chances are, if it keeps going, they'll have a third. And issue 2 hit last week, and you may still be able to find it. Chances are they've upped the production numbers on them, so chances are you can find a copy. So definitely go to your local comic shop and snag you a copy. And so now, Eric Hawkins, which comic do you love?
Turtle Power. So I don't go to the comic shop as often as I used to. Just don't like as many as the stories as I did. I mean, I had a pull box for a long time, and I didn't read half the books I was getting. I was just going, giving them money and taking the books home and shoving them in a box. But I've always been a big X-Men fan. So I picked up X-Men Legends #1 this week. It came out last week, I do believe. And what made me get this book again was Brett Booth is doing the artwork, or the pencils. And I love Brett Booth's work ever since he was working with Image on the Kindred and Backlash. Fabian, I can't pronounce his last name, but co-creator of Deadpool, was a writer. Adelso Corona is the inker. Guru FX is the colorist. And VC's Joe, that's weird. VC's Joe Caramongo's letter. But it's set 30 years ago, so it's not a current story. Hence legends. So it starts out back in, it would be like, early 90s, late 80s. And that's when I loved the X-Men. X-Men was probably one of the second books I ever started getting. G.I. Joe was my first book. I started with issue 11. And I found X-Men 200 at a gas station across from the high school. So that's when I started getting that. And I loved all the classic characters, and that's what I liked about the X-Men. And, I kept, about 2010s when I stopped getting it regularly. I just wasn't reading it or anything anymore. I was picking it up and just putting it in a box. There's probably quite a few issues I haven't read. But this one, because it's set so long ago, I mean, it's got Eric the Red, the Shi'ar in it. It's got the Summers, Scott, and Havoc working together in their classic outfits back from Jim Lee era. And they end up finding out, Cable's even in it. They find out they've got another brother, which I knew they had another brother, which is Vulcan. So I didn't know there was another brother. And this is what Fabian had teased years ago in the books. And they kind of shot down his story for that. And it ends up being Adam X, and I briefly recall him. But, it's also got these Starjammers in there, which Corsair is Scott Summers and Havoc's father. The book itself, the art is great in it. I have no complaints about the art, the coloring, the inking. The pacing is really good. Everything about it I really enjoyed because it brought me back to my, early days of collecting comic books. It was the bright colors and the action and the over-the-top pouches and spaceships and guns. I really enjoyed it. I will probably keep getting that one because I liked it so much. There's a few variant covers to it. I picked up one of them. I don't recall what the other one looked like. This one is one that spoke to me. It jumped out at me. I liked the best because it had Nightcrawler and everybody else on it. Colossus, Warpath. You got Wolverine, Beast, and it looks like the original crew's in their classic outfits over here. But I've enjoyed Brett Booth's art for a long time, and when I heard he was going to be doing this, I decided I was going to pick it up. And I'd heard he's doing it traditionally, which a lot of artists don't do. I don't do anymore. I don't very rarely will I pencil anything traditionally for a comic book. I do commissions traditionally, but he had shipped the pages to his inker, and they got stolen off his porch by someone. So he had to send him the scans to print out ink. Brett Booth got me buying the Flash a couple years ago because I liked his art so much, and I hadn't collected a lot. I haven't collected a lot of DC books. It's mostly been Marvel, to be honest with you. But I've always liked the Flash as well, and him being on there helped out a lot. But if I was to give this a rank, I would have to go with I'd do an 8. I mean, it's hard for me to be perfect, so I'll give it an 8 because I don't know where it's going, and I caught something kind of funny in the back, and I don't know if it's an editing error or just an artistic error. But you got Corsair showing up here at the end, and he's supposedly pointing his gun at Adam X there, and there's a sight on Adam X in the first panel up there. There's no sight on Corsair's gun. So either it's not his gun and someone else is trying to shoot him from behind or something, and Corsair is going to protect them. But yeah, that's the other thing. Corsair looks like he's going to kill his third son or his fourth son, one of his sons. But hey, that's all I got on that one.
All right, that actually sounds pretty good. Yeah. I haven't read X-Men. Continents have fallen since I last read X-Men. So, but Cindy kept saying, "Yay, X-Men!" Ted Davies Artistry says, "X-Men, awesome! Love this show. Thank you, Ted. 3 for 3. What you got, Brian? I will tell you in a moment." And Joe D. McPhee from the desk of a small press publisher. Even all, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a good evening. And now for my choice. Now, everyone, I make no bones about the fact that I am a Superman fan. So just to depart from my normal shtick, we got a Superman book. Anyway, no, Future State is an event that's going on at DC right now. It's kind of a spin-off of Death Metal, the Death Metal limited series, with a potential future for many of the major characters. Well, the one I am enjoying, I'm not really digging a whole lot of them, but the one I'm really enjoying is Superman versus Imperious Lex. Now, I'm already digging it because it's a nice little Easter egg, because Prince Namor, his catchphrase used to be Imperious Rex. And that just kind of shows you the kind of thinking that goes into this book here. It's got a lot of humor, a lot of poignancy, too. It's my favorite DC writer right now, Mark Russell, who recently, I first got to notice him when he did a maxi series featuring the Flintstones in the updated Hanna-Barbera stuff that they did, like the Wacky Racers and Scooby Apocalypse and things like that. But Mark Russell knows how to spin a terrific story with nods to the past, and also brings you up to speed so you know who everyone is, which is the failing I've had so far with a lot of the Future State titles, and that you're dumped into their world and you have no idea what the hell's going on. In this story, this came out a month ago, and the second issue actually just hit the comic shops this week. Mark Russell is the writer, Steve Pugh is the artist, Romulo Fajardo Jr. is the colorist, Carlos M. Mangual is the letterer, and these covers are by Yannick Paquet, who always does great work. But the plot is, this is a trope from the 60s when Lex Luthor emigrated to a planet where he became their superhero. Everyone loved him on Lexor. But the problem is Superman couldn't touch him because it was their sun was red, and he would lose his powers. This lasted from about the mid 60s till about the late 70s. And so Mark Russell revisits this. In this one, the United Planets, if you remember the Legion of Superheroes, are wondering if they should bring Lexor into the United Planets membership, and they're the Earth delegate, Lois Lane. First says no, because Lex is a poopy head, then changes her mind, and so they send their emissary, Clark Kent of Earth. Of course, you know it's Superman, and they know it's Superman because Superman revealed his identity about a year ago. But anyway, the story is very fun, lots of action, a wonderful twist ending at the end of issue 2, and the third issue should be out at the end of March, I believe. I will give this personally, I'll give this a 9 out of 10 because I enjoyed it so much. They even have a little Easter egg going back to the 70s book, the DC Comics Superheroes Cookbook, which is, I still own a copy, and the recipes are delicious. But anyway, the comic's pretty tasty too, so definitely check it out. The main story wraps up in these two, but now Lex, of course. Hint, Lex loses. I hope you're sitting down. In issue 3, it's going to be him getting back at Superman, who braved a red sun to save his wife. So definitely check out Imperious Rex. 9 out of 10 because I want that third issue right now, damn it. So anyway, that's my review. And I hope, folks, that you listened and you enjoyed. Yeah, there we go. Clyde got it going on there. Yeah, and I saw Eric.
There you go.
Yeah, and I've got a birthday coming up, Eric, and I was telling Cookie today, she's like, what can I get you for your birthday? And we had gone to Walmart and seen that. And I said, honey, I was taking a thing from the old Saturday Night Live thing about Mr. Subliminal, the old character, Mr. Subliminal. It's like, honey, I don't need a thing, Funko Pop Superman. I really couldn't care less, Funko Pop Superman. So we'll see if I get a Funko Pop Superman by Tuesday. Anyway, and Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, Christian Basil, glad to see you here. Hello at night. And Eric Hawkins, he's a real good guy. Eric, you should take points from this guy. Obviously, we shouldn't be trying to pronounce names. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm notorious for butchering them anyway on the morning show. So it's like to to everyone, probably Mark Russell's the only one I got right. It's the only one I'm sure of. But anyway, there's a lot of good stuff at your local comic shop right now, and please support them. They can definitely use your ongoing support. And let's see, we've got about 3 minutes left before we should sign off. Real quick, I want to get at least one question in real fast to everyone. And we'll start with Brian this time. Brace yourself. Oh, I know. Look out, guys. Brian's had to get. Which Brian is it now? Anyway, what comic is coming out that excites you the most, and why? In 1 minute.
All right. They just announced Batman 89, and it's partnered with Superman 78. So they're both kind of they're the ones I'm the most excited about. I haven't been this excited about a comic since I don't remember when. Like, I am more excited about both of these comics than I was with The Last Ronin. Batman 89, they are drawing it. Batman looks like Michael Keaton. All of the designs are taken from Tim Burton's Gotham. Same thing with Superman 78. It's based on the first Superman movie. All the drawings look like all the actors. They are officially sequels to those movies in the DC comic book universe. So I am super pumped, and I'm going to nerd out so much on this show when I get my hands on those.
You're going to get some help in that. Eric Hawkins, what is your comic in 1 minute?
In 1 minute. Actually, I was really looking forward to The Last Ronin when it was announced, and I missed out on the first issue. I went to I don't know how many shops that first week. I could not find it anywhere. It was so disappointing. So I ended up reading it online. I haven't read the second issue yet. Even though I was at the comic shop the same day as my brother when he picked it up, I didn't pick it up because I didn't pick up the first issue. But I was like, I'll just read his. But that's why I've been looking forward to that for months.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over.
That's why I've been looking forward to for months was that book.
Yeah, very good. So score some points, Brian Hawkins, and let your brother read it. Clyde Hall, 1 minute. What are you looking forward to most?
One of the things that, besides Batman 89 and Superman 78, which I also look forward to, Mark Russell, that you were talking about, is going to do Fantastic Four Life Story. And last year they did Spider-Man Life Story at Marvel, and I thought it was a wonderful concept of showing the stuff that we know, a lot of the same things that we know about the character and the happenings in their life, but their characters age. So you have a Spider-Man that starts off as a high schooler in 1962, and he's a senior citizen that's still trying to do the right thing with his great powers and great responsibility in his 60s and 70s. And it really lent a realism to the comics that I enjoyed as a limited series. Mark Russell doing that for the Fantastic Four, chef kiss. I just can't wait to see it.
Heck yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to have my own choice. I'm going to have to echo Brian's, especially Superman. Superman, and it's going to be based on the Christopher Reeve movie version. And I've already gone on public record that I will murder anyone's grandmother in order to write Superman 52 with George Reeves. I am so freaking there. But oh my God, Eric. Oh yes, I am. Oh, I'm having a dorkgasm right now, but no, I just think that's such a great idea, and I really am excited, because they've done like tie-ins to like the various Batman cartoons, the Superman animated adventures, and it's really making me, and also the Wonder Woman TV series from the 70s. They did Wonder Woman 77 plus Batman 66, and I think this is just going to make a fantastic addition to all of those books and kind of a love letter to those fantastic movies of years past. Brian Hawkins says he's really looking forward to Batman 89, Superman 78. Me too. And Joe D. McPhee from the desk of a small press publisher. Love Future State Wonder Woman. I haven't seen Wonder Woman. I would review the rest of the Future State books, but I have told these guys I want to stay positive. Anyway, and Ted Davies Artistry says stellar crew and stellar selections. Great show. Thank you, Ted. Appreciate that so much. Don't forget, Ted Davies is on at 10 o'clock on Tuesday and Thursday mornings with TED Talks on Tuesday. Great interviews, as well as TED Talks on Thursday, where he talks about timepieces. and watches and stuff like that. It's really, really interesting. Plus, he hosts a show with Carl Witzman on cigar smoking appreciation. Thank you. And we're going to try to make way for the wonderful Amy Hale and her beautiful and delightful companion John, Mr. Amy Hale. And Aaron Roblowski says Wonder Woman 1 is great. Sequel, not so great. Yeah. Well, I had an issue with Superman of the Superman Metropolis. I had no idea what the heck was going on in that one. It was better in the second issue for me, though. But we may carp about it another time. But tonight, we're just going to look at the positive. And first of all, I'm positive you guys are awesome. Thank you, Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall for sharing your love of comics with us. And what do you say we do it again next week?
Yeah, why not? You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a date.
What the heck?
Naturally, we'll travel. I'm ready.
All right. That's yeah, we may just say Amy, tough. Anyway, and we'll just keep on talking. But anyway, thank you all for being here, and thank you again to our great panel here for their fantastic reviews of current comics. And we hope you heard something that you will be excited by. And Bill Sarden says, good evening, everyone. I just pre-ordered the Mezco 1 12-inch Superman, Christopher Reeve Superman figure. It looks awesome. Yeah. Oh, man. Does that come with a pack of cigarettes? That's what I want to know.
I was going to say, and the panel collectively drooled.
No joke. And hello, Facebook user. Glad to see you here. Thank you for showing up. And anyway, guys, I'm going to mute you three and put you in the background, and then we'll talk after the show, okay?
Cool.
So thank you all very much. And let's see. Let's do that. And let's get Eric out of there. That's the problem with being a one-man band around here, folks. Don't try this at home. Oh, wait, where am I? Anyway, thank you very much, Cindy. Mwah, CKOEPP. Check out that news site and check her work out on Amazon. Anyway, thank you all for being here on the first issue of Comic Book Spectrum. We hope you heard something that gets you excited and gets you to go down to the comic book shop. Also, check your public libraries. You can get a lot of great comics there. Also, you can read them online with hoopla.com if you have a library card. There are ways to get comics, and it's a unique American art form that we love, and we hope we can share that love with you every week. Thank you all for being here. Also, thank you to our Patreon supporters. Thank you, each and every one of you. You can support our mission of the Rising Tide for as little as $1 a month on subscription. Plus, you get stuff for it. Like, you can see your name on this show. How cool is that, huh? Anyway, also a big shout out. Thank you to the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We've got some great shows, including Amy Hale and John Hale following us on Creative to Sale with the great Charles F. Milhouse, pulp writer, pulp publisher, creator of Captain Hawkland and other great stories. Please check that out. Also, Pulp Reality #1 that was mentioned earlier. Please check it out. And also later tonight, Stupid O'Clock at 9 p.m. with Joe Dog McKeel. And then the Stupid After Show at 11, all times Eastern. Please check it out and check out the Rising Tide Broadcast Network fan page on Facebook. And let's see, what else have we got? And I think that's it. Thank you to our sponsor for tonight, Plasma Fire Graphics. When the look of your book matters to you, check out Plasma Fire Graphics, both on the interwebs and also on their Facebook page. Also, thank you to Geek Insider for powering this show. If you're interested in signing up for my free monthly newsletter, go to risingtide.pub or send me a DM on Facebook with your email, and I will get that to you starting March 1st at around 5 o'clock. So don't wait. If you're watching us on Facebook at Kathy Jackson's Books or the Rising Tide Publishing page or the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page, please like the video if you've enjoyed any part of it, and we hope you have. And also, please like the page you're watching it on as a thank you to your host. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, on the Rising Tide Publications page there, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes of this show here. And that's all we've got for now. We're going to throw it to Amy Hale now, and thank you one and all for showing up here, and we'll see you next week for more reviews, more conversation, and thank you for your comments as well. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great night, everyone.